Hello. Yes, ma'am. I have started that one. Yeah, check. Please. Yes, ma'am. Already she is trying. You can push him now. Sir is here. Yes. Ma'am, please. Sir is joining. At least it will be visible on the camera. You can sit here. Is it here? Here. 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 Fine. Because you need to interact with class. And now only once. The match will be under camera. So whatever this will become.
Yeah, good morning all.
Good morning, Jyoti ma'am. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Very
How
good.
are you?
Good, good. We are all in school. All the teachers are in school.
Very nice. So we look forward to a great session, sir. And I think you and me are on the panel.
Yes, yes.
We will, it's basically a very serious topic, sir, but I would like to use a lot of wit and humor so that the parents can, kind of take it as a natural conversation and doesn't
Yes.
become very overbearing.
Absolutely.
So, and in case there is some situation where you need to come in, and kind of take charge of the situation, please do that. And we hope to have the presentation for at least half an hour, 40 minutes. And then
Okay.
During the presentation, we are going to keep the audience mute, but they can write their doubts and questions in the chat box as and when required. And after the presentation, we'll have an interaction round. We can unmute all. And then like basically for 15 minutes, we can take up some questions and wind up in an hour or so.
Will do. Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's the plan of action. By 10 o'clock, we should wind up. Otherwise, it might go on just
unnecessarily. We have to, yeah. I needed to check with you. So now in your system that they have here, how are we doing it? Are we won't be able to see the people, right? They will see us. We won't. What type of system is this?
So I think all participants will be visible. I mean,
Okay,
as of now, I can see you and South City International.
Yeah, the office, I mean, my team is sitting there. Correct.
Yes. And as the parents join in, I think it'll take 5 to 10 minutes for everybody to join in. And we can definitely see the participants.
So Swati ma'am, Rupika, who is allowing them to enter? Who is controlling it? Swati ma'am? Swati ma'am, Rupika, who is controlling it?
So the host, I think.
Who's the host?
We are the host. Yes, we are the host.
Yes, yes. So who's going to?
We are the host. Yes, sir. We are the host.
So you don't need the camera like that. So Rupika, you sit in front of it. I mean, no point in having that ambiguous thing. You sit in front of it so that you are controlling it. I mean,
just you bring down.
how many are entering? I don't see any participants entering in. It's 9 o'clock. Rupika?
No, sir. Why it's showing so many participants and waiting list? No, they're not in the waiting.
148 participants are there. Have they entered?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
148 for 149, please allow them to enter.
They are all
All
in.
there, sir.
All there.
Okay,
They are
okay.
all muted. They are muted. They are on mute.
But Dhruvo, I won't be able to see them. Will I not be able to see the... Jyoti ma'am, can you see the participants? No.
I can see that there are 155
No,
participants.
no, I'm saying on the screen. On the screen in this system, I don't think we are able to see them.
No, individually I can't.
Hmm.
You've changed the setting.
No. They have done.
Who has done?
From Sachi Group.
No, Shraji,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's just attendance. We
No,
can
no,
see.
ma'am, view. Go to the view option here.
No, you won't be able to.
Speaker, it says speaker, put gallery.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
No, only three will be there.
So only those who are allowed to speak, attendees are not
Huh.
allowed to be seen.
Not
Yes,
to be seen.
yes,
It's
yes.
setting that they have
Yeah,
changed from
it is-
Shraji.
Yes,
Their settings.
it is
sir.
a webinar setting. where
Correct,
only-
no problem. So I think our speaker is on. We all set, right? Should we begin? Should we wait 5 minutes more? It's just 9 o'clock.
Who's Ajanta Pandey?
Ajanta Pandey, Pushpi
Yeah,
Ghoshal.
Yeah, these are parents only.
Okay,
allowing-
now the setting.
Then I think they will be visible. Yeah, no, visibility, but only allowing them to talk. That is one setting, so.
They are free to unmute themselves.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm that I am on in the meeting because,
Yes, yes, Mrs. Kulkarni.
okay, yeah, I just wanted to confirm. Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
yes, we are seeing your presence there. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Uh, Mrs. Kulkarni with a son and a daughter, right?
son
Yeah.
and daughter.
Two twins. Yes,
Yes,
twins.
twin
two
daughter
daughters,
and an older son.
the
Yeah,
son in 8th standard. Yes.
yes.
Good morning.
Yeah,
I'm going to just mute myself again, I think. Thank you.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I'm
Good
so
morning,
glad to see
sir.
so many parents. Good morning, everyone. Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Saturday morning, all of you joining.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. Teachers and all,
Good morning,
please.
sir.
Teachers, kindly keep quiet. Mute yourself. Class teachers and all, kindly keep quiet.
Morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Class teachers, kindly keep quiet. There's no need for you all to wish. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate
You
it.
can hear me, right?
Yes, yes. Asmita Datta's.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
I'm a father here.
Yes.
Good morning.
I'm very happy to have a lot of parents here, especially fathers. I need fathers too. That's what we had decided. And that's how we planned it for Saturday morning. So I think it's 9
Thanks.
o'clock, 9:01. People will join, but each one has a very important schedule to follow. We're all here because we are all interested in the safety and security of our children. So I think I'll wait another 2-3 minutes before I begin. People are joining. It's 180. So I think I'll just hope it crosses 200 fast. We've got more than 300 registrations, but I'm waiting for, I'm sure, lots of adjustments to be done, and to come back to the online mode from school is something which is not expected. Though some of you parents are still in a online work from home mode and handling home and office. Number is 185. Okay. Would Mr. Ghoshal like to say something? Your hand is raised.
No, sir. It
Santa-
was clicked by my hand. I'm setting the
Okay,
settings.
okay.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. Hmm. So it's 9:05. Good morning, all of you. Good morning to all my dear parents of South City International School, class 5, 6, 7, 8. Our numbers right now are 187, but I respect the time of each and every one. And so I would like to begin. Today we have with us a wonderful personality. More about her would be told to you later, Mrs. Jyoti Sapru, who is here to speak to all of us about our child's safety and in this ever-changing VUCA world. This whole concept, this whole project has been brought about by the support and assistance of the Shrachi Group, and I'm thankful to Mrs. Sujata Todi for initiating this process. We have invited Mrs. Jyoti Sapru to speak to all our dear parents of these classes 5, 6, 7, 8 on this topic, however unpleasant it may seem, and not just unpleasant, but each one of us do not want to be associated with this topic of child abuse, sexual abuse. But times are changing and we need to make our children strong, resilient, confident. And if anything goes wrong at any aspect, they should be confident enough, if something goes wrong, to speak to the parents. But before anything can happen, we need to provide them with knowledge on how they can safeguard themselves. And that is why I requested all of you to be present here to discuss, to learn, to know about the safety and well-being of our children. Without further ado, I request our Vice Principal, ma'am, Mrs. Swati Nandidat, who herself is a teacher of psychology and mathematics, who has immense experience in psychology. My two daughters were her students in psychology and got 100 on 100 in ISC. So over to you, Swati Nandidat.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your compliments. Today's session is being presented by a renowned psychological counselor, Mrs. Jyoti Sapru, who is a master's in psychology and also holds a postgraduate diploma in psychological counseling from Legal Aid Services, Kolkata High Court, which is in affiliation with the University of Kolkata. Ma'am is a registered psychological counselor with the Counselors Council of India and also with the National Career Service, a government portal for counseling under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. She has worked with the West Bengal Police as a psychological counselor online and has rendered services to the Self-Help Counseling Center. Ma'am wears a number of hats, and she's not only confined to the counseling services, she's also very closely connected with educational institutions, where she helps out a number of children. The institutions namely are in Kolkata, St. Thomas's Girls High School, Modern High School, Lakshmipad Singhania Academy, Young Learners Montessori House, Shri Shri Academy, and also, of course, now she has come in to help you parents realize the importance of how to deal with your children, and also with the HRD, that is Human Resource Development Wing of Siemens. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us this opportunity to hear from you how we can protect our children. Thank you. And over to you, ma'am.
Mrs. Jyoti Sapru, warm welcome to you once again on behalf of South City International School and all the parents and teachers who are out here. We look forward to your guidance and continued support over the period of time. Thank you, ma'am.
So much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's a great honor for me. And thank you for having me today. And I hope we can all benefit in some way or the other from this presentation. To begin with, I feel we all know that the parent is the first guru, right? We bring a child into this world with lots of hopes, dreams, aspirations. But parenting, to do a reality check, is the most heart-wrenching, heart-breaking, hair-raising, and frustrating experience also. It completely brings us down to our knees at times. So primarily, we are all parents first. Then we are teachers, counselors, doctors, or whatever in our profession. So I feel that parenting is all about growth. Now, growth of a parent and growth of a child. Today, we are here to discuss both. Why I say growth? Because the day we realize that parenting is something which is not taught to us. When we go to schools, we are taught physics, we are taught chemistry, we are taught maths, we are taught everything, but we are not taught anything about us as humans, our human nature. So the growth comes with the development of the child. Even if we have to drive a car, sir, I feel we need a license. To get married, we need a certificate. But to have a child, what do we need? Nothing. It is the most unadulterated relationship. And trust me, because I am dealing with parents on a daily basis, we have no clue. We really don't know what we are doing with our children. So there are ways to deal with situations which we are not prepared for. We may, in different circumstances, experiment, have trials, have errors. We fall, we get up, we learn. As parents, we do that. And today, the topic is not parenting. The topic is child abuse. So coming to the topic, child abuse is something that we kind of keep brushing under the carpet. We don't want to face it head on. Humko kya? It's not happening with us, no. It's happened to somebody else. But you never know when an accident is waiting to happen in today's times. So this workshop is all about awareness, it's about prevention, and it's about empathy, compassion. So I'm going to begin my presentation now with your kind permission, sir, and teachers and parents. Dear friends, let's look at the slides that I have prepared. And I hope if you have any question, you can come back to me at the end of the presentation and we can take it up from there. So creating awareness against child abuse, we as responsible citizens, as parents, as teachers, we have to develop a model which works in congruence, it works as a team where the child spending time in the school. So what is the responsibility of the school? What is the responsibility of the teachers? And of course, the parents above all. And then again, when we are not able to deal with certain situations, then we reach out for professional help and not brush things under the carpet. Please recognize the red flags. So we are going to not only discuss the science, we are also going to discuss some steps that we take in order to prevent, and in case it has already happened, how do we help the child? So to begin with, we all understand that we cannot be with our children all the time. We cannot be with them. So what we can do is to introduce certain preparations so that they do not ever fall into such gullible traps. A bud of rose was crushed before it bloomed. A kite was torn when it was about to fly. The budding flower was crushed to ashes and the kite took the soul away. This is yet another sad saga of a 3-year-old minor girl who was playing with her little dog when she was noticed by a delinquent, evil man who was lust-driven upon the sight of a little happy, harmless child playing in her own little world. It gives me goosebumps to even fathom what the child undergoes when there is any kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, or even neglect on the part of the parents. And trust me, sir, it is never, ever the child's fault. They cannot stop it, but we can. So it is the responsibility on our shoulders as adults, as caregivers, to protect our children from such elements. Let us not only, think about what is happening in our houses, let us also include the school, the society as a family. When you open the paper and you see news articles like a 5-year-old minor girl being assaulted or a child marriage, it's really, beyond apprehension, any kind of thinking that a parent would be blind to such things happening to their own children. When you are rescuing small girls from child trafficking, there are children being forced into prostitution. And these are not isolated incidences. These are happening every day. The newspapers are filled with news of abuse, of rape, of crimes. So let us understand the psychology behind such offenses. And you know, sir, what is most disturbing that we kind of always think that it's just not going to happen to us. And that attitude has to go. That attitude completely has to go. Otherwise, I don't see that there can be a, a change in our society at all. So when a child is going through sexual abuse, you know, we don't even come to know. You will be shocked to know that 1 out of 8 children are suffering from some kind of abuse or the other. And we are completely ignorant about it. So this definitely needs to be addressed on a priority basis, because it would lead to severe psychological consequences in the future of the child. It could lead to terrible social anxiety. It could lead to depression. It could lead to all kinds of mental and physical ailments. So let us make it a fundamental policy that no matter how complex the situation, no matter how difficult the consequences, we will make choices to prevent and to identify these signs in such a way that we can eradicate this kind of abuse completely from our society. So what do we do? I would like all of you to kindly get into the chat boxes and put your own suggestions, which we will take up at the end of this session, because it's very important for us to understand how much are you affected with this issue. And trust me, I congratulate each and every parent who is attending this webinar today. I mean, I salute you. I salute all the fathers, the brothers who are here today, because you are the ones who are going to make a difference in our society. The compassion, the empathy, and the realization of keeping your child safe is itself is half the battle won. So congratulations to all of you for joining us in this webinar. And also, whatever you take back from here, I will be floating a questionnaire for you, and you must fill it up anonymously and let us know how we as counselors, as teachers, as society can help work as a team and give a proper protection to the children. And this is children meaning only girls, no. Boys also go through a lot of abuse. So our future is in our hands, and we have to make that flower and bloom. So coming to the topic that we are discussing today is how to talk to young children about body safety. Please pen down if you have suggestions in the chat box, because we hope that your conversations with your child about body safety, they will be open and ongoing. It cannot be that I make a presentation and that's it. No, parents should not just have the talk with children, but multiple natural conversations over time, so that the children know it is safe, it is healthy, it is okay to talk about these subjects. It should not be something just falling from the sky and then we do a presentation and then that's it. the more we imbibe it in our daily natural conversations, age appropriate, it's going to help the child understand and take it as a natural phenomenon. So what are the subjects that you think we can basically discuss? So let us, I'm sure you must have heard a lot about good touch, bad touch. That's it. When it comes to child safety, all that we talk about is the good touch and the bad touch. But according to me, this is my model, and I feel that it's more important to talk about the safe and unsafe touching, the healthy and the unhealthy touching, rather than the good and the bad touch, because it removes the guilt from the child. You know, there is no moral value or moral science class that we are going to make them distinct about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Teach young children that no one should touch them in the area that their bathing suit covers. You know, this is such a good way of teaching them, small children, about their private parts. Instead of using the scientific terms, we can use age appropriate wording. We can discuss safety without kind of disclosing everything about sexuality, because they don't need to know everything too soon. So suppose we teach the young children that nobody should touch you in your area that is being covered by your bathing suit. That itself covers the entire process of child abuse. And, you know, child abuse cannot be only offline, it may be online. There are predators everywhere. So, this is to teach the difference between healthy, unhealthy secrets. And it is okay to keep a secret, because you have to wait for the right time to open up. And suppose there is some secret touching happening with your child, we have to tell them not to keep it as a permanent secret from your parent. Eventually, they will identify, eventually they will feel comfortable, and eventually they will come out in the open with the caregivers. So how do you have the safety talk? We just discuss certain points. Now, it is not always that the child is comfortable speaking to the parent. You can have your child name 5 people that they could talk to if somebody is touching them in a wrong way. It could be a teacher, it could be John sir, it could be anybody they feel comfortable opening up to. We just have to make ourselves available to them only through our compassion and empathy. Children are afraid to tell their parents out of fear of punishment. Now, we all have been brought up very, very traditionally. Our parents have always used that fear factor, reward and punishment, the scarcity, like, if you do this, you will not get this. If you do this, then I will give you this. So, this thing has been so deeply embedded in us that somewhere down the line, we are passing it down to our children. So they are not very, very, very comfortable in telling certain things out of that fear of punishment or being misunderstood. So it is important for the child to seek out to some trusted adults, to instruct your child that they should keep telling until someone helps them. Reaching out for help. Today it might be abuse, tomorrow it might be a conflict with the spouse or whatever when they grow up as adults. But if they are always told, no, don't tell anybody, this is a big no, they will never reach out for help. It is us as parents, it's our duty to recognize those red flags, to encourage them to reach out. Say, baby, if you're not comfortable talking to me, you can talk to mama, you can talk to chacha, you can talk to anybody in the house, you can talk to your teacher. They have to name 5 people with whom they are comfortable sharing such things. And what happens is, like, okay, the child is at puberty, she's going to get periods and she's going to have cycles. So we do the safety talk, the body talk, the child talk, the sexuality talk, everything. That's it. No. We have to keep revisiting this talk often. Children only learn through repetition. When we teach them how to cross a road, don't we remind them every time they're crossing the road, look left, look right, then cross the road? Similarly, we have to teach them, don't talk to strangers. If you talk to them, do not take anything to eat with their hands. Do not go in by over friendly, over sweet, over touching people. We have to give them the signs, and we all know it as adults. We know the signs. We know how they are lured into a kind of an abusive situation. We can always warn them in our own ways, in our own language, which can be appropriate according to their age. It could be even for preschoolers, for toddlers, for middle schoolers, for high school, but it has to be an ongoing process. Now, since the challenges are at 3 levels, because the perpetrators of child abuse have also learned the socio-emotional skills, the attitudinal, the cognitive distortions. I mean, we have sex offenders against adult women, what we talk about children. We women also have to face a lot of offense, and it doesn't really only come from touch. It could be just a stare, or it could be the way you are, being talked to. Anything could be an abuse. So we have to evolve as a society and have a teamwork. Why I'm repeatedly saying that we parents cannot do it alone. We teachers cannot do it alone. We counselors can't do it alone, but we can do it together. So my model consists of 3 levels, where there is an individual level, then it is an institutional level. In school, how, that culture of silence, of protecting the institution and keeping everything hush, doesn't always work in favor. Sometimes coming out with certain things, especially with parents, it has to be made very transparent. And also at a society level, we may form laws, we may have norms, we may have child abuse helplines, we may have a lot of leaders doing a lot of work, but it cannot be fruitful unless we all join hands. So these are the challenges, because human behavior in itself is so complex, and then sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect of children, all this is super complex. So unless and until we are clear in our head that what are we aiming at, we cannot achieve it. So it's very important for us to have regular sessions. We can form support groups. We can have teachers and mothers support group. We can have a support group of parents who have gone through child abuse, and how they can help those in preventing further cases to happen with other children. So these are the kind of things that we need to start working upon. And I'm sure because I feel that every child deserves to flower. They are such innocent, pure souls. They have, no judgmenting, and they are not judgmental, and they trust adults and they expect adults to take care of them. But everybody is not a parent. So this distinction of another co-adult, maybe a predator, maybe an abuser, we have to set it in a very smooth and a very beautiful manner, because I feel that the key components of awareness building, which is this presentation is all about, should include what child sexual abuse is. Do you understand what it is? Its prevalence, who experiences it, and at what ages, who inflicts its criminality and other legal consequences. How a child feels when and after being victimized, the serious harms and consequences caused to the child, the tendency towards non-disclosure, children's truthfulness in disclosure, children's typical emotional, social, behavioral responses after victimization, including ways in which they may indicate their experience without frank disclosure, and the principles of consent, child's right, and gender equality. This is such a vast subject. So I, as a counselor, come across many cases, and professionals and institutional leaders must also be aware of their legal and ethical duties to report known and suspected cases and their legal liability for breaching their duty. Sometimes, like we say, कि गुनाह करना तो बुरा है, but गुनाह सहना भी बुरा है. So we must not keep quiet. We must talk. We must make people aware. We must come out in the open with such issues. Then only can we create a wave of awareness. We can create a drive through campaigns, through social media, through presentations like this, so that we are well equipped to face any situation which may crop up in front of us in the coming future. So there are a lot of action steps that one has to take, but today we are only talking about awareness building, like I just spoke, and empathy building. These two are the master keys which will, lead us to our goal. And I'm sure the schools, the parents, the clubs, the societies, our community livings, our gated communities, whatever we are associated with, will come up with steps to promote appropriate responses, even after the infliction of sexual abuse. Parents, caregivers, professionals in health, education, law enforcement, and other youth-serving institutions should be the prime targets for awareness and empathy building, and they can respond appropriately, mind that word, appropriately, to such disclosures. So quickly talking about the ecological model that I feel is going to work at 3 levels: the individual, the society, and institutional, which is very, very important for us to form strategies, and especially for teachers. Teaching is just not about the subject. Teaching is about life. Teaching is about compassion. Teaching is about empathy. Teaching is all about awareness building. So when children are spending maximum hours in school, why not we take it upon us to build a connection? Without connection, there can be no empathy, there can be no compassion, whether it is with parents or with teachers. So it's very important that we take it upon us as institutions to come forward and make a drive, an awareness drive against such abuse. Quickly, we will just talk about few steps that we can take. Learn the facts, because I think 1 in 10 children are sexually abused before their 18th birthday. So it's fantastic if we can reduce that. We can minimize the opportunity, because 80% of the sexual abuse incidents occur when the children are isolated. Make sure that their interactions can be observed. If you have a computer and they are working online, why make them sit in their rooms cooped up with their laptops? Why not have it in the hall where the screen is open to the entire family? What are they watching? It's never the child's fault. We have been always compensating. Somewhere down the line, we have been failing as parents, as adults, and we are letting them to just go ahead with whatever, we are comfortable with. We want time for our jobs, for our me time, love yourself, self-love, and all of that. So it's okay if the child is sitting cooped up in a room doing all kinds of nonsense and becoming a prey to online abuse. Step number 3, talk about it. Open conversations with children about body safety, sex, boundaries. I mean, these are the best defenses. Why not be open on certain topics? Why is it a taboo to talk about sex? Why is it a taboo to talk about private parts? Isn't it a natural process? Isn't it something that we all go through? I mean, that's what human life is all about. We don't need to give them too much information. We don't need to give them information too soon, but we need to give them information. So again, I repeat that we have to recognize the signs, know the signs of abuse to protect children from further harm. In case they have been made to sit in somebody's lap and that person is just caressing their back or legs, and the child is not comfortable and comes and tells you, Mama, I'm not comfortable with this uncle making me sit in his lap. What is your response? We usually keep quiet about it. We don't want to discuss, we don't want to talk. We ignore the signs unless and until it becomes something bigger. And then it's a monster that we have created and we cannot control ourselves. So react responsibly. Understand how to respond to risky behaviors, to suspicions, to any kind of reports on abuse. And the best 3 points that I could feel are disclosure, discovery, and suspicion. A child has broken through secrecy, fear, shame, and chosen you. She trusts you. She tells you, honor that attention. Honor that belief, that compassion. Tell the child, at least you can do that you believe him or her. You may not always ask leading questions immediately. You may take professional help or speak to somebody who is trained to deal with these issues. But all that the child wants is to be seen and to be heard. We can do that much. Again, like we talk about discovery, where you have witnessed a sexually abusive act by an adult. In your society, a neighbor has done something to another neighbor's child. You have witnessed. What do? Humko kya yaar, like it's happening to somebody else. How does it matter to us? Let's just mind our own business. Isn't that what we do? Or do we say, come on, let's get together, take action, call the cops, gather proof, get the culprit arrested? How many of us actually do that without victimizing the child and without victimizing the family? So, lastly, I feel suspicion is also very important because we have vibes, we have instincts, we can feel. As humans, we have been blessed with the sixth sense. We have that intelligence, that what makes us superior to other species. You have seen the signs, you have witnessed boundary violations towards the child. That means you need to set some limits, some boundaries. Don't be lazy about it. Take action. So we have to develop that necessary culture. Increased efforts to prevent sexual violence are paramount. I know in our society we take it too lightly because we feel that it's just not our duty. The cops are there, the counselors are there are other people assigned for this job. We don't need to do all of this, but no, each and every one of us needs to be that CID, that plainclothes policeman who is roaming around, who is keeping a watch, who's looking for these signs. And unfortunately, so far, evidence of successful interventions with boys and men to prevent such violations against women and girls are scarce. Very, very scarce. Nobody just cares. So while some efforts have shown progress in improving attitudes, like I said in the beginning, that I congratulate each and every person attending this webinar because you are showing that you care. You have that empathy, you have that awareness, you have that compassion. And this is what is needed in today's society. This supports our contention that the level of individual prevention, what I feel that particularly boys, they somehow lack empathy. They are just brought up to be a boy. They're never brought up to kind of understand women, to value women, to, our roles are so fixed. Boys don't cry, boys don't do this. We have boys playing with boys, we have girls playing with girls. And then when they come together, then we have furthermore psychological issues. We have peer pressure, and we deal with a lot of complexities which can be easily avoided if we keep a very smooth and a very natural process right from the beginning, where there is so much of understanding, love, compassion for each other. Trust me, all our problems are somewhere rooted in our childhood. So if we can take corrective action now, if we can take preventive action now, later on in life, they will never have any issues. So we can build a team of support buddies, even in school, like you have monitors, you have prefects. We can have some support buddies, like even in your housing complex, who are just keeping an eye, looking out for predators, looking out for those people who are always over touching, over friendly, over loving towards certain children, and children are not comfortable with them. Today, if one child says, we may not, but if 2, 3 children are pointing it out, we definitely recognize it as a red flag. So again, talking to children about body safety. My body is mine. I am the boss of my body. I don't have to be hugged. Why? I don't need to be kissed or touched. I'm not comfortable. They can say that. Why do we all need to pull their cheeks? Oh, kuchiku. No, don't do that. Don't encourage that. Child is not a trophy. It's not a medal. You're not going to show, oh my God, I have such a beautiful child. Because somewhere down the line, we are only validating ourselves as parents and not actually thinking about the child. We use the proper names for our private parts. They are not weird. They are not funny. Everybody has them. These are just few examples how we can, kind of prepare the child for the natural process, the biological process, the psychological process of growth. And again, like the body safety circle, building that circle where there are 5 people whom the child can talk to when they are sad, when they are scared, and especially if they need to talk about body safety. If somebody breaks a body safety rule, I need to tell someone until I get help. Even if I don't tell right away, I won't be in trouble, and it's never too late to tell. These are certain things that the child can understand. If an abuse has happened with the child today, he may not speak today itself. He may be quiet. He may speak after a week, after a month. Suppose he just barges into his room and says, I hate you, mama. Does that mean that he actually hates mama? No. Let us not take these things personally. This means that something negative has happened with him. We have to understand what has gone wrong where. Not like, देखो इसको बात करने का तमीज नहीं है. Look at the way he's behaving, and things become from bad to worse. So these are certain ways that every child should know, and it's our duty as adults that we teach them these ways in a very healthy, in a very natural process. And since we are running short of time, I will just close quickly with the parents' role regarding the prevention training, and also, certain things that we can do to prevent sexual abuse even before it can happen. Like we say that prevention is better than cure. Recognize signs, recognize unsafe behaviors, and react responsibly. Thank you so much for watching and attending today's webinar. My regards to all.
Thank you, ma'am. I mean, ma'am, you could go to the chat, I mean, not the chat box, but the question answer session.
Yes, sir.
And in the question answer session, parents have been putting in a lot of questions.
Yes, sir.
And
You can also unmute so that if anybody needs to speak, I mean, we can unmute them turn-wise, and we
yes,
can take
yes.
4 to 5 important questions.
But one main question Mr. Kalyan Chattopadhyay has put there.
Yes, sir.
Sir, our children spend a lot of time online.
Yes, sir.
And there they often come across child predators.
Yes, sir.
We need to know how we can keep our loved ones safe from such predators online. Many children get traumatized after an encounter online and
Yes.
even take their lives in shame. We need to be aware what we can do in such context. I thought this was
Absolutely.
quite a very valid question.
Very, very valid question, sir. And I did speak about it in the middle of my presentation because we are dealing with a generation which is completely online. And like I said, that instead of having the computer screen in their rooms where they are just cooped up privately doing anything and everything, we can have it in the hall, in the living room, in the dining area, wherever, where the screen is also exposed to other members of the family. And if we can't do this, we have to at least educate the child that do not share your email ID with anybody because there are all kinds of scams happening. Do not send your pictures to anybody because there's all kind of shaming happening. And then we can also teach children by example. I mean, how many parents here don't use phones and laptops in front of their children? How many parents here have a completely apparatus-free area in the house where they just sit and talk in flesh and blood? So these are some things that will, because it's taken so long for them to learn these things. And especially in COVID, it has been aggravated to such a level that it will not happen overnight. The unlearning process will also take time. But the fact that you realize that the child is spending too much time online in itself is an abuse. So we need to get them off. We need to slice the intervals between the online timing. Suppose the child is told you can be online from such and such time, and then take a break, again be online from such and such time. Slowly we increase those breaks. Slowly we can slice up their day in such a way that they are weaned off the online addiction. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Another important question here is, how do we, at the teenage level, make our children understand about safe, unsafe touch when the hormones might make them feel unsafe touch is fun? Very good question.
Yes.
Because they love the unsafe touch and they find it fun, and so they would like some answer there.
I really don't think that unsafe touch is fun because they are so bored. They are so, I mean, they have nothing new in their lives. They might experiment with their sexuality. So I would strongly suggest that keep your children distracted. Like if I tell my child, don't think about a monkey, the mind is going to be only full of monkeys. So if I tell my child, don't do this, they will continuously do it. So instead, if I tell my child, come, let's go for a golf session today. Come, let's go and do this thing. And they are always preoccupied. They are always distracted. I mean, we cannot remove a negative thought, but we can always replace it. We can replace that negative thought with a positive thought, and that can only come with distraction, with positive intervention, with us spending quality time with children. And please also understand that it's a phase, which we have all gone through as teenagers, and they will also go through it, and it will be over soon. Thank you.
One more question from a parent. How can we teach the difference between healthy and unhealthy touch?
So this
Healthy,
is
using the term healthy and unhealthy.
yes, yes. That was to make them understand that when there is, basically they understand, sir. It's nothing that we can make them understand. They understand, sir. If they have a relative coming and soothing them in a way that is acceptable to them, they feel the vibe, they can feel the touch. Like any woman would make a difference between a healthy stare and an unhealthy stare. This is not something that is taught by theory. It is by example also. And also again, why touch? Whether it's healthy or unhealthy, like I said, we don't need to hug them and kiss them and touch them all the time. They are a being of their own, a mind of their own, where they will not even remember if it was a perfect touch, if it was a perfect relation, if it was a perfect family. No, what they will remember is how you made them feel. If you make them feel happy in a healthy way, you make them feel heard, seen, understood, that is more than enough. The child will themselves come and tell you that this was not a good touch and I didn't feel healthy about it. I didn't feel safe about it. So definitely the parent has to take the corrective action that time. Otherwise, there's no like segregation of healthy touch, unhealthy touch. And yes, what we talked about in the presentation was that your private parts, which are covered by your bathing suits, don't need to be touched by anybody. So that's all that we can tell them. The rest, the child will come up to you and inform.
And you did mention, Sapru ma'am, that children can also understand unhealthy when someone is stroking your arm or stroking your thigh, or may not be the swimsuit area, even
Yes.
beyond that, but yet you feel uncomfortable. Anything that makes you, your thigh is touched, caressed. You said
Yes.
sitting on the lap of an uncle or someone, you feel creepy. You
Yes.
don't like that to your body, and that's what you had already mentioned to us.
We have all grown up with this, sir. We have been children and we have been experiencing touches, and there are certain touch which we do not want. So the child will himself or herself come and tell you. This is not that we have to coach them. It is happening in front of you. The child is telling you, that's all. We don't have to have a theory and a chapter on good touch, bad touch. I don't believe in that. The basic thing is that the private parts should not be touched, and any, whether it's the same sex co-adult or it's opposite sex co-adult, if anybody is behaving in an unsafe way with your child, please don't allow it. I mean, there are so many children I know, they would like, if you go and hug them, they say, please don't hug me. They don't want to be hugged. So this is absolutely to be respected.
Sapru ma'am, last two questions, I'll combine the two. One is that this unsafe touch can come from a similar age person, and connected, next question by a parent, when we try and discuss their feelings and affections, they try and avoid this. They find it uncomfortable. They leave the place. Directly, they say, I don't want to discuss these topics. So this parent says, he's a father, how to become a friend with them so that they can discuss the emotions. So first, how can the unsafe touch also come from a similar age person, not necessarily older or...
Yes, definitely, because we are coming from different backgrounds. We all have a different past. We all have a different upbringing, and we all experience sexuality in a different way. So maybe a child is exposed to maybe abusive parents or abusive family, or maybe that child has herself or himself gone through an abuse and would like to, with a vengeance, put other children through it. So then the problem is lying with the predator, number one. Number two, if it is a similar age abuse, definitely there is a problem with the person who's doing it, and it needs to be reported. And if it is not reported by your child, I'm sure you will understand from your child's behavior that they are being abused. So in any case, we as parents have to keep a vigil where the child is going, whom the child is meeting, why is she being sad, why is she being anxious, why is she, and we also speak to the parents of our children's friends to keep, we understand that what kind of parents they are, what kind of family my child is visiting. So even if it is a same age abuse and there is an unsafe touch, we as parents can recognize it, confront it, and put an end to it. And this too, I feel, is a passing phase. Maybe the person doing to your child is going through abuse and needs help too. Coming to the second question, where you now want to become a friend and discuss certain issues as a friend, then let me also tell you that you can never actually be a friend.
Yes.
Let us not try to be a friend. Let us be a parent. Okay, beta, आज नहीं बात करना है, कल करेंगे, परसों करेंगे. I will wait for you to come to talk to me. Give them time, give them space. Don't rush them in because it is on your agenda and you want to talk about it. Give them time and be with them. You know, sir, I just want to end by saying that this 1 hour that we have given to this presentation.
Not enough, ma'am.
No, I know, because parenting is such a topic. I mean, it's
Yes.
so vast. We need, I don't think we have courses or classes, but at least we need this from each other to support, to understand. And
I
like,
will make a note of these questions. I will tell all parents present here, kindly email me questions, or we have a anonymous Dropbox also. You can send it. Questions can be asked anonymously in a Dropbox, but questions, WhatsApp groups, etc. I'm really appreciative that the parents asking so many questions. I am looking forward to conducting a physical session in the auditorium also. Once we finish with our board exams and the auditorium is free because the board exams on in the auditorium. But Mrs. Sapru, I think we parents are very keen on having such discussions, and we need to do it on a regular basis.
sir, I would
So,
love to do that because I feel physical interaction makes a much bigger and better impact. But definitely, I also want to float a questionnaire for all the parents so
yes,
that we
ma'am.
have a systemized feedback from them. And one-to-one sessions can also be arranged if somebody is having any serious issues. And definitely, I will answer each and every question that has been put up to the best of my ability. Thank you.
So what would you like to do? Would you like to float the questionnaire now or later? How would you like to go about it?
Sir, I'll email it to you and then you can take it
Okay.
further from there.
Okay, okay. Then may I request Anjali ma'am, our primary head, to kindly give the vote of thanks for Sapru ma'am.
Thank you, sir. What a wonderful session it has been. Thank you, Jyoti Sapru ma'am, for taking us through a path which is very, very less traveled. Thank you, ma'am, for taking time out and giving us insights into this very important topic of child abuse. We would also like to thank Mrs. Sujata Todi for facilitating this session and getting us all on one platform. Thank you, ma'am, for all the technical arrangements too. Our gratitude to our founding principal, sir, for recognizing the need to have a session on the topic of child safety, a very less spoken about topic. Thank you, sir. And a big thank you to all parents who joined the session. You have already taken the first step towards child safety, and we hope this session has broken all taboos about which you and we have been thinking about. Thank you once again for joining. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There is a lot of information. There's plenty of inquiry coming in. Once you email me that questionnaire, I'll send it to all our parents of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And I think later we would be able to do a session with our senior kid parents and then our lower age group parents. Because some parents have asked me here, I mean, separately, that they are looking for their siblings also. And they want sessions with the children too in school, which obviously we want to do, but we want this for the parents to be aware of how we can make our children confident and aware of the dangers lurking in society. One point I would like to add here, this unsafe touch, unhealthy touch can also come from family members or family friends. People that you trust as adults, you feel are good, could be unsafe for your child. Not all adults, even if they are close family friends, you as a parent should listen to your child if your child feels unsafe with a close relative or family member.
Absolutely.
That is, your child's confidence in you is very important. If a child knows I can talk to my parent, whoever the perpetrator is, whoever, a person in authority or a relative or an unknown stranger, anyone, my parent will believe me and I can discuss. I think that is what we have learned today from Jyoti Sapru ma'am. So I thank you all for being present here, and we look forward to wonderful initiatives like this from Mrs. Sujata Todi, Jyoti Sapru ma'am, and from South City International School. So have a wonderful weekend, dear parents. Stay safe, stay blessed. All the best to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.